the tax collectors and sinners were gathering around Jesus to listen to him. The Pharisees and legal experts were grumbling, saying, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." So Jesus told him this parable. A certain man had 2 sons. The youngest son said to his father, "Father, give me my share of the inheritance." Then the father divided his estate between them. Soon afterward, the younger son gathered everything together and took a trip to a land far away. There he wasted his wealth through extravagant living. When he had used up his resources, a severe food shortage arose in that country, and he began to be in need. He hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him into his fields to feed pigs. He longed to eat his fill from what the pigs ate, but no one gave him anything. When he came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired hands have more than enough food? But I'm starving to death. I will get up and go to my father and say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son. Take me on as one of your hired hands.' So he got up and went to his father. While he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was moved with compassion. His father ran to him, hugged him, and kissed him. Then his son said, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Quickly, bring out the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Fetch the fattened calf and slaughter it. We must celebrate with feasting, because this son of mine was dead and has come back to life. He was lost and is found.' And they began to celebrate. Now his oldest son was in the field. Coming from the field, he approached the house and heard music and dancing. He called one of the servants and asked what was going on. The servant replied, 'Your brother has arrived, and your father has slaughtered the fattened calf, because he received his son back safe and sound.' Then the oldest son was furious and didn't want to enter in, but his father came out and begged him. He answered his father, 'Look, I have served you all these years, and I've never disobeyed your instruction. But yet you've never given me as much as a young goat, so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours returned, after gobbling up your estate on prostitutes, you slaughtered the fattened calf for him.' And his father said, 'Son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we have to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found.'" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
Please be seated. You can catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. This is an old adage that many of us learned when we were young. Others are a stitch in time, 6, 9. 2 wrongs don't make a right. Never make the first or last out at third base. The real question isn't the meaning of "you can catch more flies with honey than with vinegar," but why? Why would anyone want to catch flies in the first place? But you see, I think that's a sativa question. You can catch more flies with honey than with vinegar means you'll be more successful in life being sweeter or nice rather than being mean to people. Not nice and doing hurtful, dishonest things in life. So it means to be nice and love and care for people. Again, it's a lesson we attempt to impress upon our children. For instance, in my Atlanta church, there was a woman who was just nasty. A prickly pear would be a compliment. She wasn't an angry person so much as she was controlling, acerbic, and mean to people. And yet, despite all this, she had been the wedding coordinator, assistant treasurer, and junior warden. It just didn't cross this lady. I tried to stay away from her as much as possible, but because her children were active in the acolytes and in the youth class and youth group members, I ran into her all the time. She was, as I said, she was just mean and surly. And currently, She's in an assisted living facility, and she says she feels alone. Geez, I wonder why. Her own children and grandchildren don't want anything to do with it. Well, I remember one Sunday afternoon, our telephone rang at the house. This was BA time. BA time is before Apple. So we had only a home phone. And our son Michael was probably 5 years old at the time. For all young children, and especially PKs, those are preacher kids, proper manners, well, they're a must. And because everyone in our 2,000-member church at the time had our home phone, and because we didn't have any caller ID at the time, phone manners were especially important. It would not have been polite for us on Michael to answer the phone like, hello, yeah. So we talked and say, hello, this is the Frost residence, Michael speaking. And then if someone said, hi, can I speak to your mom and dad? He was to ask, and who should I say is calling? And all fine, all good, perfect. Well, this one afternoon, Miss Nasty called. And Michael answered the phone, and he did great. He really did. However, young ears pick up more information than the Mueller report. He had overheard my rantings and a few choice words regarding this woman over the years. And young children don't know the game of when to share private information and when not to do so, right? So as I said, Michael did great answering the phone and asking who was calling. However, in the process of handing the phone over to me, he said, it's that old mean lady from the church. I was mortified. But at least he didn't use some of the other words he'd heard me use. The point is that this was an opportunity to have a discussion with our son about catching more flies with honey than with vinegar. In other words, being nice to others, showing kindness and care to others is more likely to bring out those same qualities than in others. Being mean and nasty in return to those who are mean and nasty will encourage them to continue to be mean and nasty. Michael said he understood, and I was pleased. And now it's my turn to understand. If you understand that you can catch more flies with honey than with vinegar, then you understand today's gospel parable and the much deeper meanings of forgiveness, repentance, and ultimately universal salvation. Listen again to the opening collect from our Ash Wednesday liturgy. Almighty and everlasting God, create and make in us new and contrite hearts, that we, worthily lamenting our sins and acknowledging our wretchedness, may obtain of you, the God of all mercy, perfect remission and forgiveness. The entire point of this service in the season of Lent is one of penitence. That if we have new and contrite, that is expressing remorse, hearts, we may obtain forgiveness from God. Piesu Domine miserere nobis. Oh, pious Lord, have mercy on us, we say as we bang our chest. The entire point of this perspective on Lent is that repentance precedes forgiveness. What if I were to tell you that forgiveness precedes repentance? What if I were to tell you that God catches more souls with honey than with vinegar? In other words, God's offer of loving forgiveness before repentance brings about more honest repentance than withholding forgiveness and mercy until after repentance. This morning we're about to turn around 2,000 years of church doctrine. It's sort of like we get on the freeway and just realize we're going the wrong way. We have to get off and retrace our steps in the right direction. And it all comes down to today's parable of the loving Father, the parable of the loving Father. I know the title of today's parable in just about every Bible commentary is the parable of the prodigal son. And we hear this title everywhere, even from notoriously secular Hollywood. The Rolling Stones, Iron Maiden, and Kid Rock all have recorded songs titled The Prodigal Son. The movie Iron Man and The Office, the TV show, both make references to the prodigal son returning. We hear the phrase used all the time to refer to a wayward son, reference to Kansas, who has repented and returned home. And this is how we hear the parable. We hear it this way because it's comforting to us. It's comforting because we relate to the younger son. We don't see ourselves as not quite right with God, but heck, the old guy loves us and will take us back when we get around to it. We use this parable like a get-out-of-jail-free card in Monopoly. I know I've been a scoundrel, Lord, but right here in my back pocket I have the parable of the prodigal son card, and I'm going to play it right now. I'm so looking forward to heaven. By the way, where's all that heavenly key pie at? Key lime pie, sorry. In this sense, forgiveness is a word that has a quid pro quo status about it. In other words, tit for tat. It's an exchange. I do this and I get that in return. Forgiveness all too often comes after a set of criteria that we've met, namely an expression of sorrow, turning away from an act, a promise not to return to the act, and a willingness to do penance. Forgiveness, following repentance. It cannot take place until repentance has occurred. And we see this all the time. Professional football player beats up his girlfriend, he makes a public apology, his repentance, gets suspended and fined, his penance, and then is allowed to return, forgiveness. A politician steals money, takes a bribe, brings his or her family in front of the cameras, apologizes, goes to rehab, returns to office, and many times gets reelected. I want you to keep an eye out for soon-to-be penitents. Okay? Keep an eye out for these people. Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. You watch it. He'll be walking back his live streaming on Facebook of the killing at the mosque in Christ Church in New Zealand. And keep an eye out for Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman for their roles in the college admission scandal. Please forgive me, Lord, forgive me. And then we say, you're forgiven. And finally, although it looks like a long shot, Jussie Smollett. All will confess their sins to the public with an eye on forgiveness. Just the way it is. It's the economic approach to forgiveness. The prodigal's return. But do they really? This is a common understanding of forgiveness. And such an approach would have been welcomed by the religious authorities of Jesus' day. Religious groups have always loved repentant sinners. After all, there's nothing quite like parading a repentant sinner in church for inspiring the faithful. And plus, since we all see ourselves as one minor slip away from sin, we can all relate. But what if Jesus had an infinitely more radical message than this? What if Jesus taught an impossible forgiveness? A forgiveness without conditions. A forgiveness that would forgive before some condition was even met. Now that would be some kind of religion or some kind of forgiveness that would really, really annoy people. The younger brother in us likes the repentance, forgiveness, kill the fatty calf approach. The older brother in us doesn't like the forgiveness first without conditions approach at all. We say to ourselves, now, if I have to follow the rules, then you better believe that you have to follow them also. There's no free pass. If you've ever worked on a school project or a work project, and someone on the team does no work while you and the others put in laborious time and effort, and then in the end the slacker gets the same credit as the diligent workers, then you know what I'm talking about. Why should you love your enemy and give your time, talent, and treasure to the church, sacrifice for others, and live a righteous life when God's going to allow everyone and anyone to heaven regardless? Why follow the commandments or any rules of God? That's the older brother. Forgiveness requires conditions. There can be no forgiveness without repentance first. Yes, our older brother cry is for fairness and justice, but we complain out of false justice. Let he or she who has never gotten a job due to a connection, or received special favor, or privilege putting you ahead of others, let those persons cast the first stone. When it comes to God's forgiveness, the issue isn't fairness or justice. God's decision is based upon grace. I certainly don't want to be judged on whether I deserve salvation. Perhaps you do, But my advice is to be careful to what you're asking for. Even if the younger son's repentance were genuine and not some kind of strategy that would allow him to get a good meal and sleep in a warm bed, the father's response shows that no economy is at work in the kingdom. Listen again to these powerful words. But while he, that is the son, was a long way off, his father saw him and was moved by compassion. His father ran to him, hugged him, and kissed him. The father has no interest in whether or not his son is repentant. All he cares about is the son's return. In these lines, the father is presented as having no idea what his son is thinking and having no concern about whether or not his son has a contrite heart. The father does not wait to see what his son says, but simply embraces him in love. And this is the key to this story. It's the central core of the story which the church, the older brother, and the parable of the prodigal son sinner advocates absolutely miss through ignorance or by design. This parable has nothing to do with justice or fairness or post-repental forgiveness or acceptance of sowing wild oats. This parable is about an unconditional gift granted to humanity through grace by God. And that gift is forgiveness that precedes and evokes repentance. What if repentance is not the necessary condition for forgiveness, but rather repentance is the freely given response to forgiveness already given? Most of us know it's often impossible to change until we meet someone who says to us, "You don't have to change. I love you just the way you are." I think that unconditional love has the power needed to precipitate a change of heart in each of us. And this is the reason why repentance comes after forgiveness. Growing up, I was fortunate to have been raised by three loving parents: my mother, her sister, and her brother, my aunt and uncle. I never wanted the love. I knew I was loved. And thus, whenever I did something stupid or selfish or bad, I knew I could still come home to loving parents. They may not have liked the things I had done, but they were always there to offer the fatted calf. And thus I didn't feel the need to lie. Many of my friends feared their parents might find out things that they had done, so they would lie. And it was not that as if I was never punished for what I had done. That wasn't it. It was I didn't fear telling the truth about the bad things because I knew I was loved for just being me. Because of being loved just for being me, I was allowed the opportunity to make mistakes and to accept that shadow part of myself because someone who loved me accepted it as part of me. I wasn't alone adrift in my not-so-niceness. I was allowed to see it and not be afraid to admit it. I was forgiven before even having done anything. And this is Jesus' radical idea of forgiveness. It is the theme of the parable of the loving Father. Peter Rollins, philosopher and theologian, to whom I owe debt for this sermon, has written an ending to the parable of the loving Father. And it goes like this. It was later that night, after the great celebration for his son, who had been lost but now was home. While he was alone, the younger son wept with sorrow and repented for the life he had led. Word